Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day so far. We're going to take a look at your homework that was on page 337 and 338. If you don't have that out, hurry up and get it out, please. Let's take a look at this. Number 6 and number 7 are very different problems, and we're going to see that as we do them. But number 6 is a very easy proportion to set up. You got this triangle has been split with a parallel line, and so I kind of wish the triangle was flipped over. Doesn't it seem like it's kind of quote upside down? And so I look at it and say, well, I know that x is to 5, and this is for number 6. X is to 5 the same way that 9 is to 3. Okay, and we've done some problems where we had to add these two numbers together, 9 and 3. But in this case, we don't have to, because x, well, that's the whole side, 9 is a whole side, 5 is just a piece, and 3 is just a piece. And so because 5 and 3 are both just pieces of a side, this will work out that way, okay? And so we can say x times 3 is equal to 9 times 5, so it gives me 3x is equal to 45, so therefore x is 15. Now, when we look at 7, though, 7 is kind of different. We could be really tempted to say that 6 is to 7 in the same way that 6 is to x. 6 is to 7 the same way 6 is to x. Or maybe we'd look at this and we would say 6 is to 6 the same way 7 is to x. Okay? Now, I want you to think about that real quick. 6 is to 6 the same way 7 is to x. I guarantee everyone should know what you would get for x in this situation. Because what is 6's relationship with 6? It's the same number. So therefore, that would mean that this would have to be that. And look back at our picture. Does that make sense, that this thing would be only 7 units long? Not at all. And so you can see that this problem is very different than number 6 because we're looking at a complete side, okay? While 6 is a complete side, 7 is a complete bottom, 6 is just a part of a side, yet 7 is a complete side. And so we've got to make sure we do this right. So for this one, I've got to say 6 is to 12. Now I'm adding these two in the same way that 7 is to x. Now that will work. And I get 6x is equal to 7 times 12 is 84. So therefore, x is equal to 14. All right, that one was a little bit tricky. 6 and 7 were definitely different problems. All right, keep going. We're at number 8. Number 8, this is where we had those parallel lines. The other lines are cutting through it. And so this is super easy to set up. Everyone should have got this right. 16 is to 13, the same way that 12 is to x. You cross multiply, and you get that 16x is equal to, what's 12 times 13? 156. Okay, and 156, 16 doesn't go into that evenly. But I know it does reduce a bunch. There we go. Yeah, so you get 9 3/4 or 9.75, whatever you want to do. Okay, number 9. Now, number 9 gets a little bit more dicey because now all of a sudden we have x in a couple different spots. We're adding something to x and subtracting something from x. But I can see that hopefully you can set it up. You go x plus 1 is to 12. The same way that x minus 1 is to 8. You cross multiply. Now, this is where, if you're going to make mistakes, this is usually where people make them, is they make the mistakes because they forget to distribute. That this should be 8x plus 8 equals 12x minus 12. You can subtract 8x from both sides, and you get that, let's see here, we get that 8 is equal to 4x minus 12. Add the 12 to both sides, and you get 20 is equal to 4x, so therefore x is 5. Okay? And that's what we would have. And that would make sense. You go, okay, 12 is to 5 plus 1 is 6, as 8 is to x minus 1, 5 minus 1 is 4. Yeah, that makes sense. 12 has the same relationship to 6 as 8 does with 4. Okay, then we get into these last, let me get rid of all this. We get into these last kind of problems that we just talked about at the very end of the day before we left. And so I know we didn't have much practice on these. But we have these problems where a triangle, one of the angles in the triangle has been bisected. And so this one side right here, the angle bisector, we can pretty much ignore. But what it does is it cuts everything else into these proportional pieces. So we should know for number 10 that 30 has the same kind of relationship with 24 as 20 does with x. Okay? And you can see it right there. 30 has the same relationship with 24 as 20 does with x. Then you can cross multiply and solve. You get that 30x is equal to 480, so therefore x is 16. All right. Number 11, again, they tried to complicate it by just giving you a little bit more algebra on that one. But still, it'd be 3x plus 3 is to x plus 6. Seems a little scary. As 16 is to 12. Still not a hard problem. So you cross multiply. And that's, again, if you're going to make a mistake, this is probably where, because you might forget to distribute. Okay, so 12 times 3x would give me 36x plus 36 is equal to 16x plus 96. Subtract 16x from both sides, you get 20x plus 36 is equal to 96. Subtract the 36 from both sides, and 20x is equal to 60, so therefore x is equal to 3. Okay, pretty simple problem. Then we turn the page, we go to the back side, okay? Again, this could be a little bit of a challenge because this is where these get a little bit odd. We got to remember when we're looking at just part of a side of a triangle and all of the side of a triangle. Okay, so let's see, which one do we want to do first? I say we go after maybe x, and we could say, look at this whole side right here is to the bottom in the same way this side is to x. Okay, and so the whole side, what I was calling the whole side over there is 12 is to the bottom of that triangle, 13, in the same way that just this part of the side right here is to x. Well, that part of the side would be 6 is to x. Cross multiply, and you'd go 12x is equal to 78. Divide both sides by 12. And we get that x is equal to 6.5. Okay, that's pretty simple. So now we have a value for x that we can kind of put in. We know that is 6.5. That's an exact answer. So we could use that if we wanted to. Now let's figure out z and figure out y. I think y is probably definitely the next easiest, okay, because you could just set up a real easy proportion and say 4 is to 2 the same way that 6 is to y. Because see, 2 is not a complete side, y is not a complete side, so you can compare them that way. And cross multiply, you get that 4y is equal to 12, so therefore y is equal to 3. Okay, so we got that one. All right, y is 3. And then z, we got to be careful again, because it'd be real easy for us to look and do z and say that 4 is to z the same way that 2 is to x, which is 6.5. And that would be wrong, because this is a complete side compared to a complete side, as a part of a side is compared to a complete side. You can't do that, okay? So you got to compare the whole side there. So you could say 4 is to z the same way 6 is to 6.5. That would be okay. All right, so I can say 4 is to z the same way. So this doesn't work. 4 is to z the same way that 6 is to 6.5. Cross multiply, we get that 6z is equal to 26. Divide, and we get z is equal to 26/6, which reduces to, what, 13 over 3, which is, what, 4 1/3. So z is equal to 4 1/3. All right. Okay, so we got 17, 18, 19. Now let's look at the second part. It says, what's find the value of x? Ooh, now this one can get a little bit weird because, but we did those problems with the triangles and having x squared, so hopefully this one didn't freak you out. But you could say that x is to 16. I'm doing number 20. X is to 16 the same way that 4 is to x. You could have written it that 16 is to x the same way that x is to 4. There's a bunch of different ways. Either way, when you cross multiply, you're going to see that x squared is equal to 64, so therefore x is 8. All right? And the home stretch. We got 21, 22, and 23. In this picture, it did say, go ahead and round to the nearest tenth. Okay? I'm not a huge fan of that, but that's what they're asking us to do. It says find the value of x. If this is the given y value, okay? And so I'm going to look and say, I know that 15 is to 7 in the same way that y is to x. And they're saying, well, for the first one, go ahead and plug in 16 for y. Cross multiply, and you get that 15x is equal to 7 times 16 is what I think, 108. No, that's not right. It's 112. Okay. And so therefore, x is equal to 112 divided by 15. And you can, if you did that on a calculator, I'm not a big fan of rounding things off, but so that's 7.46666 forever. 7.4666 forever. Okay. Number 22 says, okay, this time change it so that we're looking at 15 is to 7 the same way that 20 is to x. And you cross multiply, again, you get 15x is equal to 140. So therefore, x is equal to 140 over 15, which is going to be just about 10. and you get 9 1/3. Okay, and the last one says, okay, this time take it out and put in 18. So you go 15 is to 7, the same way that 18 is to x. Cross multiply, you get 15x is equal to 7 times 18 is, I think, 126. Divide both sides by 15, you get 126 over 15. And this goes in about as clean as you can go. You get 8.4. Okay. All right. Hopefully that was helped you understand what you're doing. You're going to go ahead and turn in your homework, and then you get another brief assignment to kind of work through these same things, try to make sense of it. All right. Have a great day.